fame. His bank account is as rich as his name. That's Rich, Richie Rich.
The Richie Rich Show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on with you? What's going on with everybody? Hope everybody's well. It's your boy, Trucker Richie Rich, back on the ones and twos, rocking my blues. Hey, man, I hope everybody's doing well out there, man. I haven't made a video in a couple days. I just been a little busy. I had my little boy on here with me. I took him on a little American tour. That's the first time we ever did that. He was really excited. And then on top of that, I just been working, trying to keep up with these rates, you know. I noticed that the rates are getting a little better, but you know, you don't have to deadhead as far, you know, my deadhead is cut down significantly. So that's a good thing. I'm in this dreary Northeast right now, and I wanted to touch on a subject about the cameras in the camera system that's being installed in all Prime trucks. Okay. I wanted to talk a little bit about that and touch on that a little bit and see how you guys felt and tell you how I feel and where I see this going. Okay. I want to give a shout out though to one of my subscribers I met in Nebraska about 3 or 4 days ago. I was out there on Nebraska 2 near the Sapp Brothers and Pilot over there, and in the Loves, and one of my subscribers pulled up on me. And he shook my hand, and he thanked me for giving good information that he used. And he looked like he's doing really well, man. He had a brand new Peterbilt, and he looks like he's doing really, really good. So I'm proud of that guy. So I'm gonna give you a shout out, man. I didn't get your name. I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. I was just happy that, you know, you're doing well out here in trucking, where trucking's a little rough right now. But anyway, I wanted to touch on this camera thing. Okay, I don't work for Prime directly. I'm on the other side of the Prime, and I don't have to do that. I don't have the requirements to put cameras in my truck. Prime doesn't control my truck at all. They control nothing on my truck. Only thing they control is the load, and I like it that way. I like it this way because I have freedom to move around. I was approached the other day by a guy who wanted me to pull USA truck, pull some of their freight, and I declined. I used to work for USA about 2 years ago, and I just don't think the dry van rates are even competitive enough for me to even consider it. Okay, refrigerated is kind of where it's at, unless you want to go off in the direction of specialized freight. But people got to eat. Right, and people are always going to need to eat, and there's always going to need a need for that. So, you know, I remember during COVID, dry van suffered a lot. A lot of guys in dry van sat a lot because people weren't buying dry van materials; they were buying food. Us reefer guys made a boatload of money during that time, but dry van guys just sat. So, you know, that just confirmed my thoughts that reefer is where it's at if you want to do, you know, trucking right now. Anyway, this video is really about the camera system, and I want to touch on that. Do I like the idea of Prime putting cameras in their trucks that face inward? No, not at all. I don't like it at all. And the reason that I don't like it, because it has nothing to do with safety. Okay. Even though they're saying that this is safety related and this is to make you a better driver, you know, and the commercial that they had showing the, you know, alarms going off and going right to your fleet manager. First of all, nobody has to like that. One main reason, and I remember my fleet manager telling me this a few years ago at Prime, and he told me, he was like, Rich, I am still suffering from when a guy got into a major accident in the truck. He said, they're still taking money out of my pay for that. He said, so, you know, guys getting into accidents and stuff like that, you know, that's going to happen regardless if you have the camera in the truck or not. Do you understand? But this is not really about safety. This is all about data. And this makes me raise a very high eyebrow when I hear about this. These camera systems in these trucks have been around for almost 15 years. I remember back when I worked in Philly, I'm working with SEPTA. If anybody knows what the Southeastern Transit Authority is in SEPTA in Philadelphia, it's called SEPTA. They have these cameras in their trucks, in their buses, and in their paratransit buses for the last 15 years. They just didn't have the AI technology that's associated with them. But they were able to be turned on and turned off, and there was a panic button on there you can hit to record incidents 15 seconds prior and 15 seconds after. Okay. I remember sitting down there at the headquarters down on Market Street, and a dispatcher actually turned on a guy's camera as he was working to see what he was doing inside of his truck or his bus. You know, these cameras have been around for a long time. They just now getting updated with the AI technology to the cameras can kind of guess what you're doing when you're driving. But I don't like it in the sense that this is not a regular truck. You know what I mean? This has a bed in the back. Okay. There's children, minors, husband and wife teams that ride in these trucks. And anytime they want to, they can turn that camera on and they can watch what's going on inside the truck. I had a situation, my friend, a couple months ago for Stevens. Stevens has these cameras in their trucks. And he was driving on Interstate 80 about 2 in the morning. And he kept getting a phone call from dispatch. He kept getting Qualcomm messages from dispatch. So finally he answered the phone. And when he answered the phone, the safety guy on the other end was like, "Hey, why are you driving?" And he was like, "Well, I got to make this delivery. You know, I want to make this load." And the safety guy was like, "Look, you should pull over." He says, "I'm looking on your camera right now, and I can tell you that it's snowing up there. And it's snowing pretty heavy." And the driver was like, "Well, it's not that bad to where I'm scared." You know, he's from New York. And it wasn't a situation where he was scared to drive. But a guy in Texas in a room was telling him to pull over and park the truck just by the camera was turned on. There was no incident. There was no hard braking. There was no skidding. He was just driving down the highway. Okay. You know, years ago, like I said earlier, when I was in Philadelphia working with SEPTA, they could just turn the cameras on like that and monitor what's going on inside the bus. So, you know, that sense of privacy is just out the window. And a lot of guys say, well, you know, you work and you have an expectation of privacy that's not really valid when you're working for somebody. This is not that type of work where you work 8 hours, you go home for 8 hours. Do you understand? It's not that type of work where you have Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and you go home. There's truck drivers who live in their truck full time. This is their home. Okay, and I have a real issue with that privacy being infringed. Now, look, they have a camera facing the highway, facing out front of the truck. That's more acceptable to me. But to be watching the driver and what's going on in the driver, especially with the sound on, you could be back there making love to your wife or your boyfriend. You know, hey, I ain't judging. And somebody in safety or a dispatcher at home could be listening to you. It could be a situation where a dispatcher becomes a stalker to a female trucker or to a male trucker and watches you every morning or every night and watches what you're doing back there or listening to what you're doing back there. Okay. So that's a major infringement on privacy. But I'm going to be honest with you. This is all a guise. You know, this is all a disguise of what really I think is going to happen in the trucking industry. The trucking industry is going to change. It has changed. From when I started 11 years ago, we didn't have the LiDAR system in the truck. We barely had a Qualcomm in here that worked functionally. We didn't have the lane assist stuff. We didn't have the hard braking and the progressive, what is it? Progressive, what is it? My mind went blank. But, you know, the progressive speed on the trucks where it slows down and speeds up. None of that stuff existed 11 years ago, you know. But through them installing that safety equipment on this truck, they're collecting more data, okay? With that artificial intelligence camera that's going to be pointing in the truck, they'll be collecting even more data. And I think that this is going to lead ultimately to truck drivers' job going extinct. Okay. And what's sad about it is they're using truck drivers to replace truck drivers. Do you understand? They're going to be using this technology to ultimately replace us. I read an article a year ago when I made a video about how this is the end of trucking, when they're starting to come out with autonomous trucks. I read the article that the operation cost is only 35 cents. Okay, that far beats any cost out here on the road, because you have the human element. You have us, okay, who needs to earn a paycheck. If you're a company driver, you need a 401k or taxes or benefits. But if you have a robot driving this truck, okay, and all the data they collected for all the years is going to dictate how this truck is driven by artificial intelligence, they don't need the driver, okay? And we are helping them do that. And I am shocked that Prime is allowing this, but it tells me that the owners of Prime and his acolytes are getting ready to pass on the lineage to their family by looking into the future of trucking. And they understand that eventually the driver will not be there. Can you imagine running a multi-million-dollar business and having it done autonomously? Few drivers. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine the unemployment and the heartache that thousands and thousands of drivers are going to face? And I think, honest to God, I think this is going to happen in 10 years. I don't think I'm going to have a full career out of trucking. And I honestly don't think I am. Just because artificial intelligence does what it's supposed to do. It learns. It's a learning machine. So it's going to learn from our data to what's going to happen next. This is the second half of the first quarter. Do you understand? This is the second half of the first quarter in this artificial intelligence stuff. And we will have self-driving trucks replacing us, you know? And I just think that companies are getting more involved in that. They already got drivers out here who assist automatic trucking, okay? And you got to think, in hindsight, those people are scumbags. They just don't realize it, you know, because they're helping a system replace working class people, okay? If trucking were to came to an end in the next, say it came to an end today, there would be millions of people out of a job. It would crash the economy. But they're preparing for this stuff. And they're slowly rolling out this information technology stuff, okay? So that's why I don't like cameras in the truck. And this is the real reason why I'm telling you guys that I think that somebody should probably bark back. You know, I think that the people, driver board, this is where the opportunity that you guys should speak up. And you should guys voice your concerns about that. Now, I know that this company is privately owned and he can do whatever he wants to with this company, right? But I think this is an issue for the future, okay? I watched a couple of YouTube videos and there's some people for it and there's some people against it. But I'll be honest with you, the people who are for it, to me, sound very disingenuous, very fake, not very honest. You know, they seem like the people who go along with anything they're being told. We have to really look into the situation with a fine-tooth comb and see what this really is. And I'm telling you, this has nothing to do with safety. If it was all about safety, anytime you got a critical event, they fire you. That's safety. Look, you hard brake too many times, you're fired. I'm talking immediately. Or you went over the speed limit, you're fired. You know, there were companies that used to do that when we were in a trucking boom, and they feel like they can treat you any kind of way. If you sneeze wrong, you were terminated, okay? Prime has a pretty good safety score. They have a very good safety score. You know, so there's no need to roll this out. And I believe Prime, now you could correct me on this, but I believe Prime is self-insured, meaning that they take care of their own insurance problems. So I don't see the benefit of this other than data, not safety, but data collecting, okay, for the next phase of trucking, wrapped up into a guise of safety. It's the same thing I experienced as a police officer. Roll call in the morning time. Watch commander comes in, says, "Hey, Bell, I need you to get your quality of life rest up." Sergeant, you mean my quota? No, I didn't say quota. I said quality of life arrest. Truth is, it's the same thing. It's a financial gain. Do you understand? It's the same thing. I need you to get more revenue into the department, sir. Okay? But it's wrapped into a guise of safety. It's disguised as quality of life arrest. Oh, I need you to write people who are drinking or loitering. Write tickets. Okay? Same thing with this safety stuff. Some of you guys will understand what I'm saying, and some of you will disagree. And that's okay. But I'm telling you, another 10 years, we are not going to be driving trucks. I see it coming. And then you guys will remember this conversation. It was like, you know what? That dude was right. Trucking has came to an end, and it's my fault. I let them put this technology in my truck. I let them monitor how I act as a truck driver. And now there's a robot doing my job. Okay? Believe me or not. It's up to you. Peace and love. Richie Rich out.